boundary check, engraving. On the spot. But why? Hello, welcome to my Tech Fun. I'm Igor, and this is my first 20-watt diode laser engraver review video. And this is Atomstack A20 Pro. And this box is sent to me by Creatorally in exchange for a review. I was waiting for my first 20-watt diode laser because I want to try several things. Well, for example, can we engrave different metals except stainless steel with that Brilliance lasering? Because with 10-watt laser it was very close, but not enough. Actually, this 20-watt diode laser combines 4 5-watt lasers into one beam, and this is how we can get this big power. The engraving area is 400 by 400 millimeters, and it arrives with air assist kit. And this is very important because this strong diode laser you want to use for cutting wood mostly, and with this definitely the air assist helps not only to have sharper cuttings but also prevents creating a flame. For engraving the air assist doesn't help much, so with that basically it's not necessary, but for cutting definitely yes. I really like with Atomstack new engravers that they arrive with a screen and possibility for offline engraving. For me this is important because usually my laser engravers are down in a basement, and I can prepare my files here in my flat and only the SD card I bring with me and do that engraving or cutting. Now there are a few unnecessary marketing parts on their website. For example, it says it is able to cut metal like a wild beast. Well, I will be careful with this kind of expressions. Maybe there is the thickness minimal, like I don't know, 0.02 millimeters or similar, which can be cut, but I wouldn't use this kind of expressions in marketing purposes. Let's see what's in the box. This is a time lapse of approximately 2 minutes, and everything is nicely packed and protected during the shipping. And this was the content of the box. Let's start with this cutting mat. From the weight, I think it is from steel. Aluminum is better in this case because it protects better the desk. Aluminum has better thermal conductivity, and if I engrave something on the top of it, the plate wouldn't be damaged. Steel is good too, but aluminum is better. Then we have this air compressor. It is quite big. I'm curious about this loudness. And this is the main box with the main board inside. Good that we have this stop button, the power adapter, USB adapter, on-off button separately, the reset button, and this is for a slot for the TF card. And here we can attach the screen with this cable, and this is the screen. It is a touch screen for the offline engraving and cutting. USB cable, these are legs, and then we have this alloy extrusion, 20 by 40 for the main frame, and this is the X Gentry, which is also 20 by 40 alloy extrusion. Having wider alloy extrusion gives more stability during the engraving with less vibrations. But as you can see, it has only one stepper motor for the Y-axis, and with a long shaft it is transmitted to the other side. User manuals, I think it's in several languages, very detailed. The power cable, and this is pipe for the air assist kit. The inlet diameter is maybe 5 millimeters or something like that. Safety glasses. Don't forget the safety glasses are recommended not only for the operator but for everybody in that room, because the laser may bounce for the walls too. That's why it is recommended for professional users to use the engraver inside some enclosure. And this is that laser module. Oh, it's really big. Maximum input of laser module is 24 volts and 3.5 amperes, and maximum laser power is between 18 and 21 watts. There is a pipe for air assist kit, and I should plug the external pipe here. Here we have some tools and sample materials for the engraving and cutting. USB adapter, probably with the SD card in it. And this is AC power adapter. The output is 24 volts and 5 amperes. The assembling is very simple, and the boards are even separated in the different labeled bags. So this is for step 1, 2 and 3. First step is the assembling of the frame, but I disagree with this first installation step because we have here the limit switch. It is very important when you tighten the bolts, it has to be on flat surface, but we cannot do it with this limit switch installed in this position. So for the final tightening I will turn it upside down, and only then I will tighten these bolts. So the final tightening of the bolts, do it on horizontal surface diagonally. In step 2, another error I noticed. So according to the instructions, we have to mount these legs on the back side and install the X-Gentry frame from the front. But we cannot do it because here we have the limit switch. So first I have to install the X-Gentry from the back side and only then mount the legs. And now I can check the tension on these slot wheels using this open-end wrench on the eccentric nuts. I'm still at step 2 and I can now install the third leg and a mailbox unit. Step 3 is installing the timing belts. They will go below these two V-slot wheels but around the pulley. And the tightening is by hand but locking with this bolt and the T-nut. And with the same method installing the timing belt on the other side too. According to the instruction, I should cut the end of the timing belt, but I like to leave it as it is now because in future if I want to tighten it, I can do it as it is now if necessary. From the back side you can check is it squared or not, following this gap between the two alloy extrusions. If it is not squared, then you can lose one of these bolts, do the adjustment and then tighten it back. Connecting the display with this HDMI cable. And it's magnetic. And now connecting the cables, and they're not labeled, but the length is exactly where they should be used. I forget to attach the laser module, but it is very easy, sliding it and tight with only one bolt. And connecting the last cable. The air assist pipe goes here. And now let's try to do some cable management using these zip ties. And now connecting the power. Now this air pump don't have a separately power supply, but in the kit I have this cable splitter. So one side goes into the mainboard and the other into the air compressor. For the air compressor, this is not loud, I could say, this is very quiet. We will see how loud is this fan. And I notice it is quite strong. Let me show you with some papers. Or with a glass of water. And it wasn't even on maximum. Let's turn it on and check the moving of the axis. Unfortunately, the fan on the module is very loud. I believe that of course very big cooling is needed, but it is louder than this compressor, and it would be good if it would turn off when the module is not operating. For the start I will use the LaserGRBL software, which is free but available only for Windows. Mac and Linux users can use the Lightburn, for example. And now I'm connecting the engraver. I already installed the CH340 driver, so I don't have to do it again. The COM and baud ports are already set, and I'm connecting the engraver. I can see it's connected, just quick check of the moving of the axis. Everything is ready for the engraving. Setting the focus is very easy. I have to use the spacer. I have to place it here, and then only one knob I have to use. Unfortunately, this is the lowest position I can go, so I have to leave this test object. And now the focus is set to top of this surface. I'm a little bit confused, so usually I could go completely down with this laser module, but it is not. I start with engraving the wood, so biggest challenge will be actually to find how much I have to reduce the power to get the correct engraving. And this is my first file. Here you can see my settings with the red are the correct settings because I needed some experimenting. During the engraving footage you will always see the parameters I used there. Unfortunately through this glass it is a little bit hard to see the correct position of the laser. It is always better if you do a little bit more engraving. In that case use the limit switch and then always have the same reference start point. Safety glasses on. This was my first attempt, but this is very nice and sharp engraving, maybe even too strong a little bit, but I get this on full power with 5000 millimeters per minute speed. Usually with the 10 watt laser modules I do this on 2 or 3000 millimeters per minute speed, so definitely a very strong laser. I want to repeat the same engraving, but now in offline mode, saving it to the SD card. So I'm going to the file and quick save. I will unplug the cable so you can see it is really offline. And there is MTF logo. One pass. So this was engraved over the laptop and this over the SD card. And now back to the online mode. Now I want to engrave some grayscale image. This is with 10,000 millimeters per minute and only 50% power. Boundary check. And this is speed up video, actually a time lapse of approximately 5 minutes. That's something what needs a little bit more experimenting, a little bit too light, but yes, definitely this can engrave very nice grayscale images. Several times I got comment why I don't use the air assist during the engraving. Now I repeat the same engraving here, but now using the air assist from the compressor. I'm setting the strength for the first red line, and I'll use the same G-code in offline mode. Without air assist, and this is with air assist, and this is much more cleaner. This is 5mm thick plywood, the thickest I have at home, and I will do two cuttings, one without air assist and the second will be with air assist, and definitely with this engraver I should use the air assist, but let's compare two cuttings. And here they are side by side, on the left side without air and on the right side with air assist, and pay attention on the left side, we can see the flames from time to time. This is the real-time speed on 200mm per minute full power. And I think it is very obvious, so this was cut without air assist and this with air assist. And I could even see a flame from time to time with this cutting here. This is 3mm thick MDF and I'm using it for experimenting. Usually 10 watt diode laser modules needs at least 2 or 3 attempts until it's completely cut. Let's see if we can do it with one pass with this 20 watt laser module. Fantastic and beautiful cutting. I mean, this was a 200mm per minute full power. Usually I try with 100mm full power, and compare this cutting with other attempts from other diode laser modules. Only now I noticed how thin is the cutting line, so basically I could make some kind of puzzle toy with this. And now let's cut this black acrylic. Unfortunately, even this laser cannot cut transparent acrylic because the beam just goes through it. Usually with 5 watt diode laser modules on 100mm per minute I need 2 passes. With 10 watt I need 1 pass, but here I will do it faster, of course in 1 pass only. Now as you can see, the positioning is not perfect. It is very hard to see through this glass, but it can cut this 3mm black acrylic without any problems in 1 pass on 150mm per minute. Just one more quick cutting. I want to add one more pore on the opposite side. Perfect, like the original hole. And now let's try to engrave stainless steel. I have this plate which I'm always using in this engraver testing with different logos, and basically all 10 watt diode lasers can engrave stainless steel. Only here the question is what speed should I use? Of course very dark, but first I have to clean it, let's say with isopropyl alcohol. Wow, I can tell you that this is very deep compared to the others. Maybe I can illustrate you with this, I'm not sure, can you hear it? I can feel how melted is the material, and I can feel this engraving. And now the reason why I was waiting for this 20-watt diode laser, to see if I can use the Brilliance laser ink on different materials besides the steel, like aluminum, brass and copper. With 10-watt diode lasers it was very close, but the permanent marking I could get only on the stainless steel. Now again, the biggest problem will be actually the positioning on the center of the disc. First step is cleaning the surface with isopropyl alcohol. Shake it and wait until it dries. I already set the focus to the top of these surfaces, only now the centering will be the biggest problem. At least on white surface I can see the spot during the boundary check. And now let's check the results. I tried to clean them with isopropyl alcohol, so this is with aluminum. Brass and copper, and I think that it's coming down, so I don't think it's permanent on this one. Well, the markings are still there on all three materials, only I noticed a little bit more dirt on the paper when I try to clean the copper, but basically it is also here. But now let's check under the microscope. In the meantime, I washed it under the tap, then I try to rub it with the towel, and I check then under the microscope, and here I try to scratch it with my nails at least 2 or 3 minutes each. And what I can see that basically they look very durable, but I don't think they are permanent, so probably they will stay there maybe 7 months or even 1 year, but not permanent markings. Well, for that definitely we need a fiber laser. And now conclusions. I really like the Atomstack brand, and this was my first experience with the 20-watt diode laser, and I couldn't even test its full possibilities. It is fantastic for cutting a wood, of course for engraving too, and I think that this 20-watt diode laser should always be sold together with some kind of air assist pump or similar, because without this it can be very dangerous to cut wood, because it can very easily catch a flame. And using the air assist you will get much cleaner cutting, but also it is safer. About the safety, don't forget to use the safety glasses, and if you want to do this professionally, then of course you should be some kind of enclosure for this engraver. I'm a very big fan of possibilities for the offline engraving, because as I mentioned earlier, my engravers are down in the basement and I don't have to bring my laptop every time with me if I want to engrave or cut something smaller. I just prepare the NC file on the SD card, and then I can do the engraving or the cutting. There are a few things which I didn't like here. The first one is the noise. This is very loud. At least it would be good if it could turn off when the module is not operating. Maybe the cable management could be a little bit nicer. And one more thing, it is very hard to do the positioning of the engraving. You saw in my last experiments. Through that glass it is very hard to see the exact position of the laser. The solution could be, for example, to have some kind of smaller laser here next to it, without any glass or something like that, very weak, maybe 1 watt or even less. And then we can do the positioning on that spot, and we can know the exact offset position to from the real laser, and with that the positioning would be much accurate. This is my suggestion to Atomstack or any other laser engraver manufacturer. So that could be a good, very nice solution, because it is very hard to position through this glass. Actually, there is something what we can do even now. Let me show you my method. So first I will engraving this horizontal line. These are the settings for the cardboard, but it doesn't matter in this case. And then I'm moving the module to the right and gluing this two stick to be exactly above this line, so I don't have the offset in Y direction. Now I have to find out what is the X offset. I'm drawing this line and moving the two stick exactly above it, engraving a square, and measuring this distance, and in this case it is exactly 33 millimeters. So the correct method is to do the boundary check, and then I have to move the module left 33 millimeters exactly. It is important to set that this is new origin, and then I can do the engraving and it will be exactly on desired spot. There is a quicker method. We can create a custom button. Here you can see the G code which I will use. It will actually move to the left the module and then set the new origin. Let's check the new method. So I have to move the toothstick and check the boundaries. And then I have to click on custom button and just do the engravings, and we are finished, and the engraving will be exactly on the desired spot. I mentioned several times earlier in other videos that I'm not too big fan with this moving mechanics, where the stepper motors are on the moving parts. For example, this Y stepper motor is on the moving X gantry, and the X stepper motor is on the module. So this can be fixed on the side. For example, Y stepper motor can be here. Of course, we need the double length timing belts, but with this less moving parts we have on the gantry or on the module. If you have some other experience with these 20-watt diode lasers, you can share your experience with others, writing a few comments or suggestions. Thank you for watching, and happy and safe engraving!